We are now at 5 o'clock. For those who haven't been here before, I do like to start on time and stop on time. So that's just keep in mind. I have set up the meeting so that when you join, you're automatically muted. So so that if you do end up having to come late, or you can't disturb the meeting, right? You have to actually unmute before we hear anything. Which also brings up, if I'm playing and I'm looking down and I can't see the screen, I can't see if there's a hand, a raised hand or anything. So even when I'm talking like this, because I have two screens up, just because I need the screen real estate to run this. So I can't really see if there's a question or a hand raised. So please just shout it out. You're welcome to leave stuff in the chat. I may not see it in the chat until after the meeting too. So just bear that in mind. What other things? We should be recording. Oh, that's a good thing to double check. Did you guys get any kind of a message that we were recording? You did. Okay, cool. Yes. All right. So Zoom has this feature where when you stop moving the mouse, all of the buttons go away. So you have to quickly move the mouse around on the screen to see any Zoom notifications. All right.
Yeah, mine's work better.
There we go. So someone's able to unmute. Yes. I think that's Patty, right?
Yes, I was having trouble hearing you, but now all of a sudden I hear you much better.
Okay. That's good. Anyone else having any issues hearing me? Hearing my dulcimer? Thumbs up if it's all good. Okay, here we go. So tonight, this is the first night with these new songs. So I'm just gonna share my screen briefly here so that you can see what we're gonna kind of go after here. We have a number of songs. I hope that's visible to stuff. So we're gonna try to make it through all of these songs. Yeah. There's a lot of songs, and we only have an hour and a half. And when I go slow in learning them, we just may not make it to all of them tonight. Which any songs we miss tonight, I will be sure to have up front in July, so that we will definitely between tonight and July get through all of these songs and learning how to play them. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out is I think it's this one. Yeah, that one. Oh, and it's upside down. Let me see if I can rotate that. Oh, how do I rotate this? Good question. Yeah, I'm not seeing a rotate option. Okay, I should have tried this before. I'm sorry. Essentially what this graphic says, and we'll talk about this at various times over the next few sessions. It's important when learning anything new to just focus on the fact that it's new, and you just need to accept that you might not be great at it at first, and any challenges that you have now, you're going to just put some effort in, and pretty soon you're going to learn it and work through it, and it's great, rather than feeling like, oh, I'm never going to learn this, or this is too hard for me, or any of those sort of self-doubting things. You really, this isn't hard. It is as hard as you want to make it, but it's also as easy as you want to make it too. So just bear that in mind. All right, having said that, let me, oh, where's my Zoom window? Stop share for a second. There we go. All right, so First things first, I like to do a tuning check just to make sure that we're all in tune, or that at least you're in tune with me. So let me spotlight that again, and then I can switch my video over to here. All right, so I use a chromatic tuner to do this, and I just set it on my dulcimer. That is the bass string, the string farthest away from you. And when you're tuning, you want to go very slowly in either direction. But that is what's called D or D3. It's the D below middle C if you're used to a keyboard. That's the D below middle C, and that's the bass string farthest away. Thumbs up when you're there. Yay. The middle string, ooh, that's a little bit out. Let's get that up. There she is. That's the A. That's the A again, directly below middle C on the keyboard. A3 if you're counting. That's the middle string. And that's the melody string. And I hope y'all heard that it was out and I brought it back in. All right. That's D4, the D above middle C. So your bass string and your melody string are 1 octave apart, in case anyone's counting. Okay, not every dulcimer is tuned DAD. It's a very common tuning now. It's why I use that in the sessions. 20 years ago, it was more common to tune to DAA, and there are many people that still tune to DAA. D is a difficult tuning for most people to sing in. So if you're singing, you'll probably want to think about tuning your dulcimer to something closer to C, G, C, something like that. Or if you're like a lot of people, you buy a baritone dulcimer, which is set up entirely different. Okay, so let's jump in with our first tune, which is Welcome Here. I am gonna change my dulcimer view so you can see the tab. Oops, I could do that over here. There's too many buttons sometimes to pay attention to. This one, yay! All right. And we are going to make this a lot bigger and stretch it out across the screen. All right, let me make it bigger one more time, maybe. Yes, that will work. And drag it down. Okay, can already see something that's not working really well, and that's that. We'll move that out of the way. All right, so let's see how that's looking. Okay. So thumbs up. You can see the tab on the screen. You can see my dulcimer. It's all looking good. Okay. So this tune I learned from Erin May. And Erin May told me she learned it from Don Petty. And both Erin May and Don Petty only played the melody line. So the melody line, if you're brand new to reading tab, are these very bottom numbers. Okay? So that's all they would play is 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. I added the chords They're it's anyway. So if you are brand new to playing, you can play just these numbers below. If you're starting to play chords, you can play the 2-finger chord version, which would be 3 on the middle and 4 on the melody string for this first chord, instead of the full 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's just a way of approaching playing chords if you want to do that, and you're still struggling with getting to the chords quickly. It's, when I started playing the dulcimer, when I start any tune, I start just the melody until I know the melody, and then if I have the chords, I may start playing the 2-finger chords. Okay, just because I want to get more familiar with it. Okay, I'm going to go full chords when I'm teaching it. You guys see what you want. And if you are a noter player, feel free to play noter as well. It's a very beautiful way of playing. There's one song in this group of songs that is not really conducive for playing noter on, but all the rest I worked to make sure that you could play a noter with it. Okay, this tune is in 4/4 timing in the key of D. All right, 4/4 timing, for those that don't know, means that there are 4 beats in each measure. The measure is demarcated by a vertical line here, and the quarter note, this thing with the full black note with no flag, the filled in black note with no flag, that's a quarter note. So a quarter note gets 1 beat. I emphasize counting on the Mountain Dulcimer because, believe it or not, counting is harder on the Mountain Dulcimer than just about any other instrument. If you're coming from any other instrument, you learned how to count measures. You learned how to count these notes. But when you transition to Mountain Dulcimer, and in the world of Mountain Dulcimer, so frequently is emphasized with using numbers to indicate frets to play, it's very difficult to keep both of these number systems in your head at the same time. So you will hear me the first couple of times I play through all the songs, I will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the count of the notes, not which fret you should play. I almost never call out which fret you're going to play because the frets are indicated on the tab. Now, if you are coming from another instrument and you know how to read music, feel free to recognize that as an A, and this position fret 4 is an A, and this is a B. Position 5 is a B. 7 is a D. So feel free to read just the musical notes if that's what you want to do. Eventually, no matter where you start on the dulcimer, if you progress far enough, you're going to get there. You're going to know that's an A, that's a B, that's a D, eventually. But in the beginning, to make it easy, to make it fun, we typically just focus on the tab. And that's why counting is a little harder on the dulcimer. Counting beats in the measure is a little harder, simply because it's just really hard to keep those two totally different number systems in your head at once. It takes a lot of practice. I have spent many hours counting and playing at the same time, so just bear that in mind. Okay, I talked enough. This is a pretty straightforward first line of music. 4/4 timing. I'm going to count. There's no pickup, so I count to 4 and then we'll come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. All right, that's that first line of music. I'm going to play it one more time. 1, 2, and I guess I should count it this time since I said I was going to do that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Notice that on the half notes, you're not actually playing it too. You could if you wanted to. You could do that if you wanted to strum that out a bit. All right. Anyone questions with that first line? No, it's pretty straightforward. Okay. This is the second line. All right. I'm going to count to 4 again, and then we're going to come in. All right. 1, 2. Oh, I should say, sorry. When you're doing this line by line stuff, it's helpful to remember where you were at the end of the line above. Right? So I have my thumb on 7. Okay? And I'm going to just hold it there. All right? I'm going to hold it there as I'm counting in, because once I come in, I want to quickly move and get the 3, 3, 5 chord. All right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. We're back at the 7. I'm holding my thumb down because that's the line above. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any questions, thoughts, considerations? All right. I'm just going to put it out there. This A, this 4, 4, 4, that can be played as a bar. I don't typically play bar chords because the little lines on my fingers tends to line up with the lines on my strings on my dulcimer. So it doesn't sound as clean to me as fretting each thing. So that's one thing about that chord. The other thing about that chord is you will see it listed as both an A major and an A minor. Okay? And that is because in this version you have an A, you have an E, and you have an A note. You don't have the C sharp, which would make it definitely a major chord. All right, or the C natural, which would make it the E minor. All right, so this could be A major or A minor. It's just helpful to know those little tricks. In fact, all of the bar chords in this position, this is E major or minor, F sharp major or minor, G major or minor. Okay, so that's just a helpful thing that sometimes you want to go through. All right. Repeat sign. So those 2 lines repeat. Okay? So let's see if we can make it slightly smaller and get both lines on there. Yeah, sort of. And then we can play it through the 2 lines together, and then we'll move on to the B part. Okay, again, starting the first measure. I'm going to count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I love the sentiment of the words on this. So I was like, yeah, welcome to this happy stuff. So that went pretty well. How about if we do these 2 lines at the same time? Everyone can see that, right? Yeah, I think that's good. So in this case, we'll do both of these lines and not stop for the first line. All right. Again, we are in from the line above, we're in 2, 3, 4, or just 4, or or just 3, 4, depending on how you're making that chord. That's where we are from the line above. So I'm going to count to 4, and then we're going to come in on the D chord too. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay! One more time. We'll do this. Unless anybody wants me to stop and focus on anything, but here we go. We're starting in the 2, 3, 4 chord from the line above. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty song, right? All right. So next time, I hope we won't have to go through line by line on this song, and we'll just be able to play it straight through. Unless anyone has questions or thoughts, we can move on. So then that song, as I mentioned, I had gotten from Aaron May, who got it from Don Petey. This next song, it's called Goddesses. Let me pull it down and let me see if I can make it bigger. Come on, baby, bigger.
Can I ask one quick question?
Absolutely.
So I find myself when I get to the end of one line, I sort of like, okay, well that's a song, and then the next song, right? So I have a hard time sort of following with the timing right down to the next measure. Do you have any hints on that? I feel like I wait too long to move down.
Yeah, okay. Great question. And I mention that as a great question because literally I think pretty much everybody does that, especially when they're beginning to play any instrument, not just the Mt Dulcimer. So what I'm going to suggest is what almost every single music instructor will suggest at that question is try to start playing with a metronome, okay? And I'm so happy you brought this up because I have all my metronomes I can show you, okay? The metronome I started playing with is just this one, and it makes like a horrible beeping noise. All right, and I hate it. And it does at least have it has a different sound when you're on the beginning of the measure, so that's helpful. But it's not entirely great. The other metronome that I have been using lately is a metronome on my phone, okay? And this, it has, I gotta turn the sound up. It has that beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, but it also has a visual indication of what beat you're on in each measure, okay? So this visual beat is really helpful. That's called Easy Metronome. And another metronome that I started using recently is one on an iPad. If you can see that, it flashes when you're at the first beat of the measure, okay? All right, so that's another example. Another metronome that a lot of performers use on stage, oops, sorry about that, is this. It's like a body beat thing. You clip it on your belt or your waistband, and it plugs into your device, that's your metronome, and it vibrates. Now this doesn't have a different vibration for the first note of the measure, the first beat of the measure, but it's silent and it vibrates and you can feel it. And that's great when you're like actually performing, because you don't want these sounds like on the microphone when you're performing. Okay, the trick with any metronome, honestly, is to use them, to practice with them, and set them very slowly, like 40 beats per measure, and until that's too obnoxiously slow for you, and then slowly bring it up 5 beats per measure at a time. So the 45 beats, 50 beats per measure, 55 beats per measure, and that's going to help you know when it's time to move on to the next measure, right? The other
What was
tip.
the question? I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I came in late, so I apologize. What was the question about timing with measures? I missed
Right.
that.
So often, let me share. Let me move on to share this. I'm gonna just go over here and hopefully. So often what happens is people play the one line of music and then they get to the end and then they don't know when to go to the next measure, because this is a hold note, right? So, when do you move on, right? And so that's where a metronome is going to help. The other thing I can say that helps with timing more than as much, maybe not as much as a metronome, but certainly it helps with timing, is listening to music that has a strong beat and finding and hearing for the downbeat of the first beat of every measure is usually much more emphasized. And you don't necessarily hear it with the drums, but you'll hear it with the bass line. Often the bass moves chords on the first measure of, the first beat of each measure. So if you listen to the bass line of songs like, doo-wop music or Fleetwood Mac or the Eagles, the Beatles, anything that has a strong, consistent beat like that, and just listen for one. And say it out loud to yourself when you start hearing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll internalize that internal clock of finding where the next measure starts. So that's a couple of different tools to help with that. And the other thing I'd say is don't try to do this and listen to solo players, because honestly, a solo player is messing with the rhythm to make it sound pretty. Okay, they're not keeping time the way a band is going to keep time, or when you're playing in a group. It's not necessary to play strictly on the beat when you're being a solo performer. In fact, it's usually less pleasing to play that way, and that's kind of the other reason why people who spend a lot of time just playing by themselves often aren't really good with keeping time. And that's no fault of your own. It's just the reality of playing an instrument. Does that help people? Bring up other questions for anyone? Was it Cameron who asked that question?
Yeah, yes, that was helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a metronome app, and it's so annoying. I've never used it, so
Yes.
I'll make myself use it.
Or
So,
find a better one. Try out different metronome apps until you find one you can live with. That's a better approach. All right. So let's play this. So I was beginning to say that Erin May, through Don Petty, gave me the first song we played, Welcome Home. This song is called Goddesses, And it was written sometime before 1651, because it was included in a large collection of dance music in England. And these two songs emphasize for me, in some ways, what is so wonderful about music, and that's just sharing it generation after generation after generation, person to person to person. That's really part of the joy of learning to play music, I think. All right, this tune is in the key of E minor. There's only one sharp here, and that means it could be either in G or E minor. This tune is in E minor, and it's not necessarily because of that first chord. It's about the last chord of the song is what usually tells you what the key is in. Not the first, but the last. Often the first is the same as the last chord, but that's not always true. And so if they're different, you probably want to look at the last chord to tell what key is in. And I mean, the key signature will always show you too. This is also in 4/4 timing. So I am going to count to 4 and we will come in. We'll just play this one line at a time because it's a little more complicated in the rhythm, but I think it's helpful. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the counting. So in case anyone came in earlier, I'm not calling out fret numbers, I'm calling out the count. Okay? Now, one of the ways I like to play this song, if you're a little more advanced and want to add some frill to it, you're just going to hear that chop at the end? It's a chop or a bounce. And all I'm doing is lifting my hand up, putting it back down again. Okay, and I'm doing that partly because I'm trying to be really smooth with the first 3 measures. So if you notice, I'm holding my fingers down on the bass string and the middle string through the whole first measure. I only pick them up now. Again, holding them down. Right? And that's because as soon as you lift them, the sound goes away. Alright? So try to, if you are playing those full chords, try to play them smoothly and keep those fingers down, planted, until you absolutely have to move them. Alright, one more time, slowly, for this line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, see, I did it. See how different that sounded? All right, let's try it right this time, Lena. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, moving on to the second line. There's only 2 lines in this song, so there we go. Now, one of the reasons why I like this song is because it does have most of the common chords that you're going to see in a lot of dulcimer music. From the line above, if you're playing the chords, we are on 3, 3, 5. We want to stay there. And the other thing that this does is it jumps around. Okay, so not only do you have to move when you should move, but you have to move there quickly because you want this chord to ring until it's time to move to the next chord. Okay, So you have to move quickly. And that's, again, why I like the song, because it practices these jumps a little bit. And you'll see a big jump here in a short bit. Anyway, so we're going to play this line slowly. We're at 3-3-5 from the line above. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Where am I? What am I doing? I say that at least once every time I do one of these sessions. I'm sorry. Big breath out. Okay, we can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing the chop there, okay? Now both of these lines repeat, all right? You see that repeat sign there, okay? So you have a huge jump from down here to up here to practice, all right? Because the way this, I'm going to play this through twice so you can see. 2. That's how you're moving pretty quick there. And the way to practice that is to move slowly first. Play the song very, very slowly at first. And then you'll know where you're headed. Okay? If you haven't yet, if you're a beginner and you haven't yet memorized your fret numbering, just spend not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 times, 4 times over the next week and play your frets and count them out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, at least up to 12, and then do it backwards. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just do that a couple of times up and down each day for the next 3 or 4 days, and you'll have memorized where all of these frets are. That will take out some of the hesitation of making these big jumps, because you'll know instantly this is where you need to land. If you're landing on a 7, and that's a 10 if you need to land there. Okay? All right, questions about this song? Again, it's a pretty straightforward song. If you've been with me forever, I think we played this once before. So I'm hoping, yeah, Karen is shaking her head. She remembers it. Thank you, Karen. I just like it. I'm sorry. All right. So next time we probably won't be playing those line by line. Just putting it out there. The next song we're playing is a song called Billy Boy. And this is a song that, a person requested last time or a time or two ago for a tune in 2/4 timing. 4/4 timing is the most common timing that you have. And then after 4/4 timing is 3/4 timing, waltz timing. So 4/4 timing is actually called common time, and almost all of the music you hear is in 4/4 timing. 2/4 timing is related, but tends to have a much more sort of marchy sound. Anyway, and this tune requires a capo. Woohoo! And if you're playing it by yourself, it doesn't strictly need a capo, but it's going to sound better. It's going to sound more like it's in the key of G if you actually use a capo. And in this case, the capo goes on the dulcimer just behind the fret that's indicated. So that's capo 3, meaning capo at the 3rd fret. And you press down firmly, but not enough to break your dulcimer in half, which sometimes I'm tempted to do. And then you screw it on and tighten this down. And once you do that, it's important to check that your strings are ringing clearly. Okay? Now, essentially, you've put your dulcimer in the key of G. Okay? Before the dulcimer was effectively in the key of D. Now it's in the key of G. And if you were playing like in a bluegrass jam or an old time music jam, and somebody called for a tune that's in the key of G, stick a capo on. And now, no matter what you play, you're playing in the key of G. You can just strum like this while they're playing any chord, and you'll still sound okay with them. Okay? Again, because we're barred here, this is either G major or G minor. It could be either one. If you were putting the capo on 4, it would be, anyone want to take a guess what key you were in? We had this key last time with Cold Frosty Morning. It was A. This is the key of A, if you put a capo here. All right, so now this calls for, oh, you don't see them on the screen. Holy moly, that's a buzz. Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong line. Ooh, Lena. Okay. Sorry. All right. So these H's, in case anyone wants to know, that stands for hammer on. So instead of strumming the 6, I'm just going to strum the 5 and put my finger down on the 6. And when you do a hammer on, you'd want to try to avoid making the hammer sound, right? You can really make a percussive sound here, and sometimes that's good, but usually it's just a light sound. And it's just then you strum the 7, 10, and then this time you're actually playing the 5 and 6. And hammers, pull-offs, slides, they're all embellishments. You can choose to do them or not. It doesn't matter. The only reason why I've put them in here is because I learned years ago as an arranger that when the vocal, so you're trying to mimic, your dulcimer's trying to mimic a voice. And in this song, it goes, "Oh, where have you been, Billy boy, oh." You know, that, I don't know what it's called when you sing, when you stretch out a syllable in singing, but there's probably a fancy musical term for it. But where you have those, it's nice to make it sound different on your dulcimer, because that it sounds different when you're singing it that way. You're not giving that full emphasis. It's more airy. Oh, right? Questions about that? Okay, here we go. This is in 2/4 timing. There is a pickup measure. So this is the second beat of the measure. This would be 1, 2. So in this song, it might be helpful to count 1 and 2 and, right? So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Does that make sense? But in our case, I'm going to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then we come in. And that just hopefully gives people the timing. Usually with a count in, you're not just like, you're trying to give people the beat, you know. So we'll play it about that slow. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, play it again. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then we come in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Alright, cool. The other thing that is helpful, again, on the going back to the metronome conversation, a lot of students of other instruments, particularly in band or orchestra, are told never to tap their foot. Right? It's just something that you learn sometimes in some music circles. It is helpful when playing a folk instrument to tap your foot. Right? So just bear that in mind. Because that also, another part of your body is moving at the correct beat. All right, any questions about this line, hammers, pull, anything like that? Call it out. All right, second line. Again, we're starting the 5, 6, so we're on a 6. And I'm going to count this time 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we come in because there's no pickup here. We've already played the pickup, and we're starting on 6. And I suggest not having your index finger on 6 because you kind of need your other fingers up high. So I would, usually start something like my middle finger on the 6 so I can reach the 7 and then run up to the 10. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. I think I messed that up. It's a slide. All right, here we go again. I'm going to start again on the 6. A slide. This down here that says SL. Instead of playing the 5 independently, you play the 4 and then just move your finger up to 5. And again, it's just a different sound. Instead of... All right, let's see if I can play this line better this time. 1, again starting on 6 because that's the line above. 1, 2, 1, 2. Rest, rest, slide. All right. Okay. Questions about this line? It's a little bit interesting with the 2 rests in here. Now let me play it one more time and then we'll move on. Starting on the 6. 1, 2, 1, 2. Rest, rest. All right. Woohoo! Moving on. We're still at 6. Again, I count 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we come in. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oops, I'm sorry. Do this again. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a pull off. Yeah, so pull off is the opposite of a hammer-on usually. And you're fretting, you want to fret both the 4 and the 5. The pull off is here, indicated by a PO, okay? And you want to fret both the 4 and the 5. And you play the strum the 5 and just pull your finger off of the 5. And it's like plucking the 4. Okay? Okay, it's just a different sound. All right, we're going to begin at the 6 where we were from the line above. I'm going to count in 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we come in. 1, 2, 1, 2. last measure on the last line. Oh, come on. There we go. It's just on the 4. So we're at 6. And then we go to, right? I count us in. Same way. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm just going from 6, fretting and playing the 4 with a strum, and then just pulling my finger off for the open. Okay. So why do I like this song? I like this song because it has a few of these pull-offs and hammer-ons, and it gives you an opportunity to really practice this and get used to them and get them under your fingers. It's a 2/4 timing song, so it does have that kind of steady marchy beat to it, which we talked about, and that's kind of a nice feel to it. Blah, blah, blah. It's also in G, and we're using a capo. All wonderful things to get used to on a dulcimer. Questions so far? We are at 10 minutes to 6, so I just want to put this out here. A couple of people contacted me, and I'm not sure if they're here tonight, and they mentioned that they're beginners. And I just want to point out, some of this music is not going to be, strictly speaking, for beginners, right? And most people would say you're crazy to give this to beginners, but I will try to show you, as you know, and it's not just really just a beginner. It's if the music is beyond your current level of playing, I'm going to try and show you modifications you can make in order to play it with a group. If you're playing with a group of people that is already playing the song, I hope to show you. That's one too many. Some modifications. So the next song is called Poor Wayfaring. Hold on, where am I? Yeah, whoops, see, it goes too far. Woo, slowly, Lena, slowly. I have a little jumpy mouse here. Come on, you can do it, mouse. Wow, all right, never mind. Poor Wayfaring Stranger is what I was trying to say. Oh, I gotta do this differently. There we go. I'm gonna move it down. How about if I do it that way? Yay. Now you can see the top line of the music. All right. Maybe make it a little bigger. Yay. So this is capo position 1, or fret 1. So we're going to take the capo off of 3 and move it down to 1. Now, for those of you who struggle with coming in at the right time, because you need to practice through the metronome, this song will challenge you with this, because it does have a very interesting rhythm. Let me mush this down a little bit more. Come on, there we go. Now we can see it better. So this song is in 4/4 timing. Okay, excuse me. And in this case, it really does help to count, if you can stand it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? And that structure is throughout this entire song. So this measure, this is a half note. So it gets 2 beats by itself, but then it also has an extra 1/8 here. So you have 1 and 2 and 3, still holding that quarter note, and then go to the 4 and, okay? So that structure is throughout this entire song, okay? And it's challenging to get at first if you don't know how this song goes, if you've never heard anyone sing it. If you have heard somebody sing it, it's a no-brainer. Just sing it out loud. I am a poor wayfaring stranger. I'm traveling through, right? So So if you know how the song goes, sing it in your head, because that's going to be the easiest way for you to get this a little bit more advanced rhythm. Now, again, if you're a beginner or if you're playing noter, it's perfectly fine to just play your melody string, right? Sounds beautiful, right? And you're still in the key of E minor because you've capoed at the 1st fret. But let's see if we can play this first line. I'm going to count us in slowly, and I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and that's where we come in with this first open. It says 0. It's open, and it's open. We have the capo on, right? So don't think of 0 as 0 fret. Think of it as open. All right, here we go. So I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3, and is where we come in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Any questions about that? Hey, remember, I can't see hands raised, so if you've got a question, unmute. If other people are seeing other people jumping up and down, let me know.
Linda, I have a question. How do you quickly go to that chord position of 3, 4, 5 after you've been on the 5?
Okay.
I just want to watch your fingers. I've been looking at the music and not looking at your fingers. So.
Okay, I think by your voice, I think that's Judy, right? So I will often, in this situation, I can start in that position, right? Because I'm playing. It's one way to do it. I'm not moving anything. I'm just playing these strings, the melody string. Right? So I'm already in position. But you can also, whoops. Right? So I'm using my thumb on the 5, and I know I'm going to 3, 4, 5, so I'm just making sure my fingers are hovering in that position. And that's true for any time you're trying to work out fingering, is take a look at where you're going to see where your fingers might want to hover. Does that help, Judy?
Yeah, it does. I'm just slow. That's all.
No, it's a great question. It's a fantastic question. Yeah, so it's always a good idea to look ahead and see where you're going. And I haven't necessarily been doing that with these learning the students, but yeah, great. I'll try to point that out some more. So let's do this again. I count 1 and 2 and 3, and is where we come in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and whoops, 1 and I messed up because that was the other thing. Whoa, I just wanted to show you about chording. So again, I'm not in this middle measure. I'm leaving my 3 and my 4, the finger on the 3 on the bass and the 4 on the middle down as I play 4, 5, 4 up here, right? That's down. I'm just moving my thumb back and forth, okay? If you don't do that, it sounds, you lose the sound, all right? So that's the part of the trick of smoothing it out. You have only 3 strings on your dulcimer that you have to keep them ringing. And the way to keep them ringing is keep your fingers down. Once you've placed a finger down, keep it down until you absolutely have to move it. All right, let's begin at the beginning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Ah! I'm sorry. Shake that hand out. I can do this. I can play this song. I'm sorry. Let's try it again. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, I'm just going to mention this and go back to the very beginning with mindset. It's when you are practicing, focus on what you're doing and really listening to what you're doing. Often when I make mistakes, either in practice or in front of you guys in the Zoom session, what is going on is my brain starts thinking of something else and I immediately make a mistake. So that's one of the things that's really helpful to try and do when you, at least for a few minutes in each practice session, really focus on what you're doing and what it sounds like. That will help you immensely over time. Okay, let's move on to the next line. We are at a 5 from the line above. Now in this case, I'm not going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and, because that was our pickup measure from the line above. In this case, I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we come back in on 1, beat 1. All right. And we were on a 5, and I like to play 5 with my thumb for some reason on this song, and see my 3 fingers are ready to go. They can just fall down on those 4 4 4s. Okay. All right. So here I am. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. What am I doing? Okay, sorry. Let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So in this last part of the measure, sorry for the bouncing there, I'm on the 5 5 5 as the chord. I'm just lifting my finger up and then putting it back down. I hope people can see that. Again, just to make it sound, the sound stays together. All right, one more time for this line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. And again, this here in this arrangement, I'm calling this A minor and B minor, right? Because that's what you expect to find in the key of E minor. But it could be, that could be a B major and an A major, like I said before. All right, so we are at 5, and we're in this position 5 with our 3 fingers down from the line above. And now we're going to go to, oops, I went too far. Ay, 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 ay. Let's try this again. Oh, come on. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Let's try it this way. This line by line thing. Alright, so we're in this position of 5 5 5, and we're going to have to quickly go to 5 4 3, and there's really no hope for that except for just lifting it up and going. Okay? Alright, So starting from here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So some chord transitions, there's just no hope for it. You're just going to have to lift and go, and you want to practice going as fast as you can to keep that choppy sound to a minimum. Let's try it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and see, I messed it up again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay. So I think you guys get the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thing. So I am gonna do that only with this on this line one last time, and then we're gonna call it quits on the counting like that. And here we go. So we're on 5 from the line above, and again we're just gonna drop our fingers down to 4 4 4 to make this. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Am I already at the... I'm all the way at the end of the song. No. No. Go back, Linda. I went to the wrong line. Oh, that's confusing. Where were we? We were there. We played that. This... Oh, God. This is going to drive me nuts,
That's
folks.
okay, Lena. You just told us the end, how the story ends.
Ah!
That's okay.
This jumping around is driving me nuts. This 2-page thing, you know. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Maybe this will make this easier. All right, let's try this. End of this page. Okay. This is the last line of the first page of the music. Oh, sorry about that. We're at this 5, and again, we're just dropping our 4. And in this case, I'm going to count the same 1 and 2 and 3. All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Can I even play it? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Ooh, now we're going to go high, right? We're heading high. All right, so this goes to the second page of the music. All right. This is killing me. I'm sorry. Let's try moving this up and down. All right. This is the top of the second page. I'm going there to see my father. And we started 5 5 7. Okay, so we're on 7 from the line above. And now I'm just going to count 1 2 3 4, and then we come in. All right, because I think that's going to be all right. 1 2 3 4 2 3. That's a fast transition. Okay. One more time. 1 2 3 4. Okay. And the next second line on the second page is kind of similar. Here we go. We're again at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 2. Alright. And then the next line. Okay, instead of going to an E minor chord, we're going to this G chord. Just give it some extra different special sound. So we're at a 7 from the line above. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. All right. That one more time. We're at a 7 from the line above. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. All right, and I think we may be on to the last line that I already played. Woohoo! Yes. Here we go. And from the line above, we're on a 5, so we're just dropping our fingers down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woohoo! Got through the whole song. Now if you're I just want to point out, let's go all the way back to the beginning. If you are more of an advancing student and you want a trick, this is a beautiful song to finger pick, and there is a finger picking version in the folder that I provided. So that kind of sounds like this. Hold on. It's going to be a lot easier if I do that. And I can see the music. Wow! Alright. Let me change your view so you can see the whole page too. Woohoo! If you want to try it. Oh, that's not that way. I do it this way. And that way. And share. That's the whole page, hopefully, of the music. So, the finger picking version would sound something like. Yep. I'm just adding some grace notes with picking my fingers. Alright. Again, it's a nice challenge if you want to get there. Okay, let's look at the time. We are at... Let's see if we can do one more. Yeah, let's do one more. America. Woohoo! We are celebrating at some point this year the 250th anniversary. So I thought, well, we might as well play one of these patriotic songs. Okay. Now this is in the key of G, but there's no capo, so we take our capo off. Okay. And the reason why it's not impossible to play this with a capo on, but you know, you're down below where the capo would be in the key of G. So that's part of the reason why this song doesn't have a capo and another song that's in the key of G would have, right? Because there's a couple of notes below where you would be. Oh, I keep knocking this and it's probably making noise. Okay. So first line, this is in 3/4 timing. So each Again, the quarter note gets 1 beat, and each measure has 3 beats. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And there in the learning resources folder, there are exercises for counting these rhythms if you're want to go further with that. All right, so this is in the key of G. There's no pickup measure, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to come in. Some of the chords get a little aggressive down below. We'll look at those when we get there. The first little bit isn't that hard. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Again, if you know the song, it's helpful to sing it in your head. That's what I'm doing to keep the rhythm. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we're at the 6, the line above. Alright, and I'm going to count. I can make it better. I can make it bigger. Yay. Alright, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 again, and then we come in starting we're at a 6. Alright, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay. In this case, this is arranger's choice. I'm the arranger. So I have these complicated chords here because I wanted to sound different. Otherwise, it would just sort of sound like this. Right? It's fine to play the 7. Right? But I wanted it to sound a little pretty, so I added in a B minor and the D major 7. So that's what we're dealing with here. Okay, and to do if you want to do that fingering, the trick is to not move your thumb, and this takes practice. This isn't going to come naturally. Try not to move your thumb, right? And I'm using my ring finger to fall down on that 5, 5, 7 in the middle. Right? And
that's very clever, Lena. That's very clever. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. It does take practice because you want to be careful about if you move your thumb, you're going to get a squeaky noise. Okay? So that's the trick here. All right? And that's kind of why I added it here, because I wanted to challenge myself to make that sound clean as I was playing it. Okay, one more time for this line, and then we'll move on to the rest of the song. We're on a 6 from the line above. Okay. And I count to 3, and we come in. 1, 2, 3. 3. Alright, moving on from there. We're in this position. I'm holding it down. I'm not going to move it. Okay? And the next line, we go right back to the G 5, 6, 5. And again, you want to try hard not to move this thumb when you do this. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I played that wrong. Let's try that again. We're in this position. 5 on the bass, 4 on the middle, 7 on the thing. 1, 2, 3. notice I mimicked what I did up here. I mimicked down here in this measure. Okay? You can play this straight as just the C chord. Then go to the A minor. But I wanted it to sound a little different. So I did this C. And your challenge is still the same. Don't move your thumb. Okay? On that line. And the last line. We are on this 4-4-4 from the line above. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we have a lot of movement of our fingers, but we want these fingers, the ones on the 3-3-3 that start this measure and this measure. We don't want those to move. Okay, here we go. Or we're starting in this 4-4 position from the line above. 1, 2, 3. Questions about that? That is part of the challenge of playing a 3-stringed instrument. Alright, I am going to... It is... Questions about this song. We're at 22 minutes after 6. I don't think I want to start the next tune. So if anyone has questions about this one, let's talk about it. Or we can talk about other stuff. I can... Okay, where am I? There I am. I want to remove this spotlight. There we go. So yeah, why did I arrange America the way I arranged it? To provide you with the challenge of trying to play it smoothly, even though your fingers are moving so much when you're holding down some of those chords. Because ultimately, as I said, your instrument has only 3 strings. Now, a lot of people say the dulcimer is an easy instrument to learn because it has only 3 strings. And it is. It's an easy instrument to start playing songs on and to get pretty proficient on playing songs on that way. However, in my opinion, the dulcimer is infinitely challenging because you have only 3 strings. Okay, so that duality of being easy to begin to play and infinitely challenging is really kind of what keeps me playing this instrument. I started playing this instrument when I was 17 years old, and that was a long time ago. Okay, and I haven't gotten bored with this instrument in decades. So, questions about any of this? I hope it's helpful. You know, my goal is to just share what I've learned over the years. I don't necessarily consider myself a teacher. I consider myself a sharer. I try not to come up with some complicated lesson plans in these sessions. These sessions are geared to providing music that's enjoyable. But yeah.
Lena,
Yes.
you said that you're using 3 strings. If you're going to take one of the 2 melody strings off, is it the one closest to?
Yeah, if you want to take a melody string off, you don't have to take it all the way off. I would take the one closest to you, loosen it enough so that you can lay the string along the inside of your fretboard. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you would loosen it and then, let me see if I can get this on camera. You would loosen it and then pick it up and lay it on the outside of your fretboard. Okay? Yes, I do recommend, especially if you're a beginning player and you're going to try and do this chord melody style of playing, to remove one of the strings, because trying to chord two strings in unison is very difficult on beginner fingers. Okay, so yeah, I would, in my case, I couldn't commit to taking it off completely, so I just loosened the string up a lot, pulled it out of the bridge and the nut, and laid it to the side of my fretboard, and then I was like, oh, I can put it back if I want to go back. If you play noter style, which is just playing along the melody string with a noter, it is helpful to have two strings playing against the two drone strings, right? So if you play noter style, you're only playing your melody string, and the middle string and the bass act as what are called drones. It's a very bagpipey sound. Personally, I like it a lot better than bagpipes. However, it's a beautiful sound, but it's helpful to have the volume of those two strings ringing against the two drone strings. So if you're going to play noter style, it's helpful to have that second unison. It's called a unison string because it's tuned exactly the same. The two melody strings are tuned exactly the same. Is that helpful, Patty?
That is. And the other thing, I noticed that you play, I think about myself playing more like this on my fingertips, but you're playing more flat, and it looks like you have a much easier time playing than.
So you do want to try and stay a little bit up on your fingertips, but on your thumb, you're playing on the side of your thumb. And so sometimes you are flattening out your fingers a little bit. You don't want to play with totally flat fingers where one, let me see if I can get my camera up on this. Hold on. Let's show you that. See that one. Yeah, and let me spotlight it for everyone so it can make it big, because otherwise you can't see my finger at all. You don't want to be completely flat fingered, and some people do this, especially when they're beginning. Okay, you want to try and be up on the tips a little bit, because that's going to give you speed. If you're totally flat, you're not going to be able to increase the speed of playing the songs. Okay, but when you're chording, when you're making these chords, it's sometimes impossible to be up on your fingertip in some of the positions of chords. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right, so like this is a true A chord, and it's really hard to be up on my fingertip on this finger. Okay, so you just get it however you can when you're doing a chord. But if you're, like in Billy Boy or Old Joe Clark, you're gonna want to get that up to speed, and so you really are playing more like you're playing on a piano. Okay, other questions about this fingering or anything at all? It is 6:28. Let me turn my camera around so you can see my smiling face. I hope this was helpful. I do these for those folks who haven't been here before. I do this every first Tuesday of the month. Next month, we'll begin playing the two songs we didn't get to tonight, and then we'll keep playing. We'll probably play like Welcome Home without going line by line. We'll just play straight through, because that's another key thing to learn. As Cameron pointed out earlier, is when do you change? When you get to the end of the line and go, that it's important to learn not only that, but it's important to learn when you get to the end of the song, go back to the beginning and play it over again. So song like Welcome Home, Goddesses, we'll probably just play straight through without going line by line. But the other songs will continue to work line by line until people are comfortable with it. And then hopefully by October, you won't need line by line at all, and we'll play them all straight out. Questions, comments, thoughts? Now's your time. We are at 6:30. No? Great. Great. I love seeing your smiling faces. It just fills me with joy to see you guys. I will send the recording out. Usually takes me a couple of days to get it out to folks. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that in the meantime, let me know. I'm happy to answer questions. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lena. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. No, thank you guys. I hope to see you guys next month. All right. Bye-bye.